When confronted with this truth, people often counter with familial love. They say, what about parents and children? Parents will sacrifice their lives for their children. To that I say, while the bond between a parent and a child is beautiful, it is not a pure agenda-free love. A child's perspective is easily explained by survival. Children are put in a position where they must create a sense of security because they're entirely reliant on the adults in their environment. When you are smaller, less experienced, and unequipped for survival, you naturally develop an attachment to the people providing you what you cannot provide for yourself. Children need to love their parents because those parents provide a sense of identity and therefore a sense of safety. It is a psychological imperative that a child feels loved by their parents because those caregivers form the foundation for their self-worth, regardless of whether the parent is good or bad. Without them, a child struggles and feels lost. When it comes to a parent's love, however, sacrificing one's life or comfort for a child can happen for many reasons that bypass pure love. It could be driven by societal approval and the rigid roles dictated by culture. It could be an attempt to fix unhealed internal traumas by getting a second chance and living vicariously through the child, such as forcing them into activities the parents missed out on, or pushing them to reach heights that the parents couldn't. Alternatively, a parent may see the child through an ego-driven narcissistic lens, an extension of themselves whose achievements reflect their own greatness and value. Finally, some parents give up everything because the child provides their only source of meaning. Having not learned to love themselves or find fulfillment elsewhere, having a child who depends on, needs, and idolizes them gives the parent a fragile sense of significance and purpose. This survival-driven mechanism of needing to be needed extends far beyond the family unit. It even mimics itself in those who seem entirely selfless, such as humanitarians or people who act altruistically towards strangers they cannot benefit from. For decades of my life, truly all of my life, I have been a person who would give myself until the very last drop to help others. I fundamentally believed that you should treat people how you wanted to be treated. I knew that asking for help is a terrible feeling, and it is even worse when you ask and people show you they do not care about your suffering. Because of that, I always wanted to let people know that somebody cared. I did not want them to feel alone the way I felt alone, or to suffer the way I have suffered. I knew that if I were to walk away without helping, I would feel an overwhelming sense of guilt and disappointment. Some might say it is a beautiful thing to feel that deeply for humanity. However, reaching this current chapter in my life, after giving so much, has brought a tough realization. While helping others was not meant to make me feel good in an ego-driven way, my desperate desire to avoid feeling bad and my urge to stop them from hurting the way I hurt meant I was using altruism to externally resolve the pain and trauma I was carrying within. In its own way, that is self-serving. I would give of myself to the point of personal detriment out of a lack of self-love and inability to see my own inherent value. I wasn't giving from a place of self-love. I was giving from a place of deep, unaddressed pain. Facing this is incredibly difficult. If I'm not giving from a place of self-love, am I giving from a place of love at all? I always believed that as long as I loved other people and was good to them, I didn't need to love myself. That was my survival hack to get through life at a young age. I thought self-love was far too hard to figure out and that I wouldn't even know where to begin. I figured I might as well just be good to other people and they would be good to me. But that is not how life works. I have much more to say on how we fall in need rather than love. This is just the beginning.